Tones, it is so great finally meeting you. We're going to be getting to know you a little better with Finky's Firsts coming up. We're going to ask you a question you have possibly never been asked before. And, of course, we are going to celebrate your incredible smash, Gone, 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 with David Guetta and Teddy Swims. Multi-platinum recording artist. Multi, and I could keep going. ARIA Award winner. First female artist to reach 3 billion streams with just one song. The amazing Tones and I. Welcome to America's Dance 30 for the first time.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know that was tough to sit through.
No, that was okay.
Well, welcome to the show. It is such an honor finally meeting you. Congratulations on Gone, Gone, Gone. Not only going number one on America's Dance 30, but also going number one on the Billboard dance chart.
Thank you so much. That's definitely a first for me.
That is so amazing. Well, I'm glad we could celebrate this. I can't wait to find out how this song was born with David Guetta and Teddy Swims. But first, let's get to know Tones and I a little better with Finky's Firsts.
Okay.
So I always love finding out the origin story of artists. I know that you got into music as a kid, but when you were growing up, was music the first thing that you wanted to get into, or was there something else you wanted to be when you grew up?
Actually, I wanted to be a basketballer. I played basketball a lot more, but music was definitely my second passion. And then I realized that a female of my height had just about as much chance of making it as, having a big smash hit. So I just thought I'd switch over to music and maybe have a better chance.
Well, I've never met you, so how tall are you?
I'm like 5'5".
I mean, you totally could have made it. We could give it another go. That is hilarious. Do you still play basketball?
Not for a team, but sometimes I fill in for my friend's team if they need someone, but not for a while, no.
That's so awesome. Now, when you were trying to decide on an artist project name, I know originally you just wanted to go by Tones, but it was already taken. Was Tones or Tones and I your first choice for an artist project name, or were there other names you were considering?
Well, I mean, the thing is, you never really think that it would get to a point where you would have to keep it. When you're at that level and no one knows who you are, you think, I could just change it if I don't like it. So I'll just make it this for now. And then, I was stuck with it. So I wanted, just Tones. But I just thought, well, this is the closest to it. People still abbreviate it to Tones, so it's fine.
Well, I love the name. It really does add character, adding the and I on it.
Thank you.
Now, you've been performing all over the world. You just recently did some pop-up acoustic shows in London. But what is one of the first things that you do before you go on stage? Do you have any odd rituals or anything?
Yeah, so I mean, this isn't really odd. Obviously, like we do a cuddle and a prayer with the band and the other singers. But sometimes we also do a shot of Jameson, which is kind of a tradition, depending on who's being sober at the time. Sometimes it's a shot of water. And that was just when I did my first show. Eddie, who's my front of house, he's like an old New Yorker that lives in Australia, and no matter what's wrong with anyone on tour, he'll just tell them to have a shot of whiskey. So I was a bit sick for the first show with Eddie. I was a little bit sick, and he told me to do a shot of whiskey, and he told me it would help my voice, and I believed him for quite a while, to the point where it's become our tradition. So that's the only other thing.
And I've heard whiskey actually does help the vocal cords. Does it coat it for you?
See, I thought it did for such a long time, and now Eddie's made out that he's just gotten me addicted to whiskey. So I don't actually know what to believe.
That is hilarious. And I got to admit, doing a shot of water is actually really tough to do.
When everyone else is doing a shot of alcohol, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, your backstory of busking is obviously famous, but when you were starting to have a name for yourself and becoming famous, Did you have that first moment when someone recognized you on the streets and you had that, wait, me moment?
Yeah, so I was still a busker, obviously, because I busked through all those releases. Because just because your song's getting played on radio doesn't mean you instantly have, any money. So I was in my car, still living at the hostel, and busking because I just generally enjoyed that so much. And then I was in my van driving to my manager's house, and I was on the freeway in Australia, and I had my window down, and this car full of I guess maybe just young adults were just screaming out the car window, and I was I literally was me, I thought I was if they were to the car behind me or in front of me, and they were screaming at me. Yeah.
How did that feel?
I don't know, it was pretty cool. Aussies are so laid back with it though, they're just so bogan with it, so they're just screaming, and sometimes you don't even know if maybe you've cut them off, or I don't know, done something wrong. So I really had to figure out what was going on. It took me a good second, but then yeah, it was cute. They were really nice.
Not to your level, but I still don't know how to react when somebody says, Brian Fink, why do I recognize that name? Or I always listen to you on the radio. I still don't know how to react to that.
Now, yeah, exactly. It's a hard question, isn't it?
It really is. Now, I know it's old news, but congratulations on the incredible success of Dance Monkey. Of course, this is the first time we're chatting. It is just mind-blowing how big that song was for you.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Do you remember hearing one of your songs on the radio for the first time?
Yeah, so same situation. I was still in Byron Bay busking, and me and the girls were going to the pub, and I think Hannah was driving, and Johnny Run Away, which was my first single, which came, I think, just before Dance Monkey. That one came on the radio, and I remember exactly where we were. It was very exciting. I almost thought they put it on their phones, to try and pretend
to prank you.
Yeah, because this is the first time I'd ever heard my song on radio, and I didn't know it was going to get played on radio. I didn't get told. I just released my first ever single, which is so unlikely that they would just get played within a week. So I really thought they were just pranking me, to be honest.
That is so crazy. What was that feeling like?
That was really exciting because I was with my good friends. So I really got to celebrate the moment because I was with the girls, and they obviously, so these girls all lived at the hostel with me. So I've been living at the hostel for 2 years, busking on the street for 2 years. They been with me performing these songs for 2 years. I performed Dance Monkey for over a year before I released it. So everyone on the streets and in this town knew this song. So they were also hearing it on the radio for the first time, and they used to sit with me on the streets and hand out stickers and get people to sign up to my emails and sit in my van with me. So it felt like it was our achievement,
That is so incredible that it happened with your close-knit friends like that. That's great. Now, speaking of your music, who's the first person you share a song with when you're done writing it?
Probably I have 4 managers, but probably the female one, her name is Marietta. So I will probably send it to her first before anyone else. And then my best friend, Daniel.
Good choices.
Yeah.
Now, finally, in honor of the success of Gone, 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 I think this is David Guetta's 20th #1, which is insane. When was the first time you met David Guetta?
I met David the day we wrote this song. We've been trying to work together, but because of COVID, and I was in Australia, we never got in a room, and sometimes writing outside of a room is a bit tough when you want to really enjoy it. In the moment, you can really stop and start and go, do you like that? Yeah, no, yes, no. So when we got in the room together, that was the first time I'd met him, but we had gone back and forth online and tried to make it work. And he's just genuinely such a kid with music. He's so great, so funny. He just enjoys life and loves what he does. So easy to work with him. He's such a positive person to have around in the studio.
Yeah, absolutely. All of that. My only question for you, though, is dealing with chatting with him beforehand through Zoom and stuff, and then meeting in person. I had kind of the same situation with chatting with Sophie Tucker and Annabelle England multiple times prior to meeting them in person because of the pandemic. Was it weird for you when you're finally in the same room with this person?
Well, ours was even more different. We never Zoomed. You see,
Oh,
we talked about writing music together, but never actually committed to that. Um, and so this was like the first time officially speaking to one another.
wow. But I got to admit, that probably made it a little easier.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. There were a lot of people in this room as well. I think he had a whole writing camp in other rooms. So I just didn't know what I was getting into because I just flew to the US to work on some other stuff. And then someone called me and said, "Do you want to go in with David tomorrow?" And I was like, "Yeah." Okay.
You're like, no.
So quick. It was so, yes, it was such a quick thing.
Well, let's talk about this smash. How was Gone, Gone, Gone born between you, David Guetta, and Teddy Swims?
So I think David like had a beat and an idea before. Like he came in and he's pretty much said to me, "Look, I'm going to show you two beats. And like if you don't like any of them, we can start from scratch or I can show you more, but these are two that I've been kind of thinking I like." And then he kind of like played me the first one. And then the second one was the Gone, Gone, Gone. And I was like, "Yeah, that one." And then he's like, "Okay, say less." And then I was like, "Okay, you just play it and just give me a microphone." And then we pretty much, I just sang the melody, with like, I don't know if, I'm sure you know this because you speak to so many artists, but like, when you're singing a melody for the first time and the words just don't make sense. Like then you have to go back and put it together, which was fun. And then, we did the choir parts just layered. I was like, "Okay, who in the room can sing?" And with Geordie, we just like laid all these different choir parts for the back end, which ended up going over the hook. And honestly, it was done really quickly, really, really quickly. I didn't go back in and lay anything. I think then Teddy just laid his parts and it was so quick.
Holy crap. Well, I was going to ask you because I saw the video that you guys posted in the studio recording it. And I always love finding out how many different versions there are when it's all being tweaked on. So it was done pretty fast?
Yeah, I think Teddy changed the verse for something more like suited to him. So there's some things changed here and there. I think maybe my verse changed like a word or two. We put some extra, we decided to put, as I said, like some extra choir in the back of the hook that was already in the bridge breakdown. But it just worked. I don't know. David really liked it. I was like, cool. Like, what are you gonna say? I'm like, if you like it, I like it, bro. Like, what are you gonna say? It's not like if he likes it, I'm like, okay, go.
Job done.
No, seriously.
Now,
Like, if Teddy Swims and David both like the track, what am I gonna say? No, like.
now, how long ago did you guys start working on it?
So I think I jumped on the track in May. So it was probably around the 20th of I want to say it was the 13th of May, or the 14th. But as I said, David had already had a lot of the song done. So he'd already done the production. I think Geordie did a lot of production too. And then they had an idea of the hook as well. So kind of, it was, I guess, because he came to me with a really cool beat and stuff. It kind of happened so quickly. And there's some songs I think that have taken over a year. There's some songs that take years because you just can never get it right. There's songs that I just keep, but I'll release one day, but I wrote 3 years ago and I just can't figure it out. But I know there's a way to fix it. But yeah, there's some that just happen.
Now, talking about that video with you recording in the studio, I've chatted with artists before about how difficult it is to perform in a smaller setting as opposed to when you're in front of like 50,000 people. It's so much easier because you can't really, there's no connection as much. When you're sitting next to David Guetta, is it hard to perform?
Ooh, I was nervous. Like, I definitely was nervous. However, like, I have to remember, this is my job and this is what I love to do. And this is, where I've been successful, just the same way that he is such a great producer and DJ. So I'm sure like, it's funny. David even said he was a bit nervous too. He was like, if you don't like it, we can do another one. Like, but I was kind of the same. Like, I felt the same way. You have to have like, because if you let your nerves take over, then you're not going to give your best self, and then it's actually going to look like you don't know what you're doing. So, I guess in those moments when you're nervous, you probably should at least fake it, or at least remember why you're there. Every person in that room had a reason to be there. And I say that there's so much talent in the music industry.
Absolutely.
So,
and I'm sure everybody in that room was just as nervous as everybody else was.
yeah.
Well, congratulations on this smash. Congratulations on it going #1.
Thank you so much.
Now, before I let you go, I asked ChatGPT to give me a question that Tones and I has never been asked before. So I got to test this out, all right?
Okay, good.
If ghosts could give vocal lessons, who would you want to give you a vocal lesson?
Oh, Michael Jackson, because I use his vocal warm-ups. They're the only ones I've ever used.
That would be incredible for so many reasons. I mean, he, to this day, is still such a legend.
Yeah.
Tones and I, it is so awesome meeting you. Thank you so much for your time with us on America's Dance 30.
Thank you so much. It was so lovely to meet you.